So the Game Awards just happened and it was good for once, and I wanted to talk about it. It seemed like this year we had a lot more stuff than we usually do, and especially like a day after the Game Awards, now that I've had 24 hours to, get a good night's sleep and appreciate the show and what was actually shown there. Yeah, it was really damn good. Even the pre-show. Actually, especially the pre-show, now that I think about it. There was like just some crazy game-changing games, really. Some really good new announcements. We got a 2D Ninja Gaiden game, and the artwork for that game looked insane. Like, the sprite work looked beautiful. And that's a game that I'm gonna have to add to the list. We had, obviously, another trailer for Slay the Spire 2. That's another huge game that people are excited for. A huge game they've been wanting to play for a while now. And myself included, I was a fan of the first Slay the Spire. I never got really big into it. But I'm a huge fan of roguelites. And I did beat it. I finished a run with each of the characters. Little robot guy was my favorite. Doesn't seem like they brought him back though. They brought back the other two, but they didn't bring the robot guy. Come on. And then they showed this game, like, still all of this still on the pre-show. They showed this game called Thick as Thieves. And I'm not gonna lie, I was scared looking at the trailer at first, because they say stuff like, in a living world, and then multiplayer, and all that comes to my head is, okay, this is a live service slop game. Oh, you can explore a living world and multiplayer. It's filled with rewards. So I just feel like they're gonna shove a $20 battle pass in my face, and I'm just gonna cry about it. But it didn't look like that by the end of it. They had some cool characters. The art of the game looks beautiful. The lighting work there was incredible. And a multiplayer stealth game where you're like competing to steal something. It's not an idea I think I've heard before. It's like that little indie game like Hello Neighbor, that crappy little indie game. I'm sorry for calling it crappy. I just pissed off like the entire game theory Hello Neighbor community. I don't care. That game's bad. I tried it on the Xbox. It was on Game Pass. It's terrible. I'm sorry. FNAF's good. I like FNAF, but like that one's kind of bad. But anyways, it's like that, but done well and multiplayer. So it's definitely a game I have in my mind now. They did a freaking Pac-Man thing too. I was so surprised when it was Pac-Man. I was just so surprised when it was Pac-Man. I was like, what the frick is this? And apparently it's based on a Netflix series. I mean, or like a series in general. I don't know if it's from Netflix or not. Can you tell I don't watch TV? I'm a full-time gamer. I jokingly say it's like Silksong because it kind of looks like a Metroidvania of sorts. So we got like Pac-Man Silksong before you actually got Silksong. Throughout this entire thing, it was just me saying, okay, is this Silksong? No, it's not. Oh, maybe that's Silksong. No, it's not. I swear, there was like a time where Jeff Keighley was like, and now, a game from an award-winning indie studio. And it was something else. It started with an S, too. It's like, come on, man. I thought it was Silksong. No, it wasn't. I kept waiting forever. But that Pac-Man game looks interesting. That's the biggest compliment I could give to it right now. I don't know. It looks interesting. We had this game published by Sony. When the PlayStation logo popped up, I thought it was going to be some remaster or some PC port. But no, it was actually a fairly interesting multiplayer game, Midnight Murder Club, and I'm actually interested in it. I mean, I'm not gonna play it. I don't own a PS5, and no, I'm not buying a PS5 just for 2 games. I'm sorry, Sony. You're bringing most of the stuff to Steam. Like, even if I want to play The Last of Us Part 2, I don't have to wait much longer. I don't think I will want to play The Last of Us anytime soon. There's so many games coming out, so many games I need to get to, but yeah, I'm not buying a PlayStation for Astrobot and Midnight Murder Club. But I will say, it does look interesting. It does look fun. It's like this new style of game. I say new, but it always existed. But it's fairly popular right now, of just multiplayer fun with your friends in like small lobbies. You got like Lethal Company, Phasmophobia, all like that style of game. And they mix in horror elements. This looks a lot more like on the comedy side. It's also multiplayer, like PvP multiplayer. But it is interesting. It is interesting. But all these games I just talked about, that was all in the pre-show. And that wasn't even everything they showed off in the pre-show, just some of the highlights for me. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about each individual thing that happened because we'd be rambling on for an hour and a half. We'd be rambling on for the duration of the show. I'm going to keep this fairly brief. But that was just a pre-show. All these games, that was just a pre-show. And I will say, Jeff Keighley, good job this year. Genuinely, good job. I've been watching the Game Awards for the past, half decade? I started watching it in 2017. I've watched every single one since then. I don't remember seeing a better Game Awards than this. I do not remember seeing a better Game Awards than this. I don't. This is the best Game Awards to date. Not just because of the announcements themselves, but the pacing of it. As a show, I felt like there was a lot to like about this. I felt like there was a lot of good, a lot of thought put into it. It's a definite step up from last year, and I think Jeff knows it. He did try his best to make this 10th anniversary of the Game Awards something special. You can tell in the tone of his voice, you can tell in his little smile, he's like, oh, I'm gonna reveal Elden Ring to you today. Yes, I will. We'll talk about that in a second as well. It's like, you just know he's just, kicking his feet up in the bed like, oh, we got Okami 2 to show off today. No freaking way. It was a good Game Awards. It was genuinely a good Game Awards, and I was not expecting that. Because I've gotten used to coming at the Game Awards with the expectation of having something on in the background, like playing a game and having the Game Awards in the background, just being like, okay, time for our obligatory 20 minutes of ads, and then maybe they'll show off a sci-fi slop shooter, and then we're back to 20 minutes of ads. But it was a very well organized show. It didn't stop Jeff from being a goofball though. And I haven't seen anybody talk about this. I've been watching videos from people. I haven't seen anybody mention it. The show starts with the biggest goof. The show just starts with the biggest goof. Jeff just walks to the stage and is like, welcome everybody to the 10th Game Awards. I am so happy to present this to you today. It's a awesome thing. We got here in the crowd the father of the PlayStation. And he makes it sound like, the way he says it, I'm gonna play the clip, but like the way he says it makes it sound like he wants the guy from PlayStation to join him on stage. And so that like senior, really experienced veteran of the industry gets up from his chair, and the camera films him getting up from the chair. He walks all the way up to the front of the stage and then gets denied because it's like, no, you weren't supposed to come up here. Jeff just made a goof. And that's the first thing he says in the entire show. Oh man. Just made the guy who made PlayStation just get up and made him sit down again. So that's just the magic of the Game Awards, really. You don't get that at E3. You kind of got that at E3, right? You had some goof moments in E3. Well, a lot of goof moments at E3. But there's just a vibe that a Jeff Keighley show brings that is really not replicable by anyone else. Because Jeff is just a goofball. And he clearly has a big hand in what goes on in the Game Awards. He's not just the presenter. He's not just there holding a microphone and saying, hello everybody, my name is Jeff Keighley and I'm gonna make you watch Hideo Kojima talk about his game again. He doesn't just do that. He clearly has a very big hand behind the scenes as well. He sets up the show. It's his show after all. There's just a magic to it. Yes, the Jeff Keighley magic. Ooh, the Jeff Keighley magic. But there is just a magic to it, right? Because he is a bit of an awkward little guy. And he says things that, he gets tense. You can tell that he gets a bit tense even after 10 years. And he does some goofs. And I'm appreciative of that. It makes it more human. The design of the show is very human, as they say. The fact that they got the Muppets as well, they got the old fellas to crap on the show, very self-aware, crapping on the please wrap it up, on the whole ads thing. It shows that Jeff isn't really scared of criticism, and it would have been one thing if they got the Muppet guys to go like, ha ha, you have ads, ha ha ha, look at that, your show sucks, but then he actually made another show that sucked. That'd be one thing, but clearly he improved it. Right? This show was a lot better than last year's, and he still brought in the self-criticism. He still brought in this sense of self-awareness while improving in the areas that he's joking about. So I thought that was good. I genuinely thought that was good. It restored my faith in the Game Awards a bit. It definitely restored my faith in Jeff a little bit. And the more I learn about the guy behind the scenes, I get the sense that he genuinely does care. Even if his shows could sometimes be not the best, he genuinely does care. We need to remember as well that when you're watching like a Sony State of Play or a Nintendo Direct, right, or an Xbox Direct, those companies are the ones making and publishing the games. When you're watching at the Game Awards, Jeff doesn't make the games. Jeff has to just hope, pray that companies are willing to show off their games in his show because his show has large viewership. And I think people often forget about that. He depends on the other companies because someone like Sony, sure, they were willing to show off their new Naughty Dog title, which was pretty insane as a closer. Finally, the new Naughty Dog title with just a CGI trailer. Was there like 2 seconds of gameplay at the end? I don't think that was gameplay. That might have been like heavily altered to fit the trailer gameplay, which means we're getting that Naughty Dog game in 2027, probably. Again, crazy, definitely not a next year release. It's 2026 at the very earliest, like late 2026. That's a whole other talk. I've talked about it so much in this channel. The freaking strategy and approach that Sony has to their release scheduling sucks, but that's a whole other topic. The thing is, he was able to get him. Sony chose to show off their new game here at the Game Awards. But that's something Jeff has to hope for and actively look out for. And I don't think people often give the credit that comes with that. People don't often give Jeff the credit for setting this up. He's not Sony, he's not Microsoft, he's not Nintendo, he's an outsider. And at E3, the companies would themselves set up their own booths, right? You'd have the Sony presentation at E3, the Nintendo press conference at E3, the Xbox press conference, the Ubisoft, the EA press conference. Here, no, everything's just in one big show with 3 hours, like set 3 hour show. So to get your stuff in here is definitely like something Jeff has to go out of his way to do, because you're gonna be placing your brand new game along with everybody else. Sony's not gonna get their brand new game alongside their exact like order of titles, right? They can't say, okay, we're gonna start with Concord, we're gonna end with Astrobot. They don't have that control. It's just like, okay, you're gonna give your game for us to show. You're going to give Borderlands 4 for us to show. We're going to put Borderlands 4 right here. You're going to give us your new intergalactic game. We're going to put it at the end. You're going to give us Okami. We're going to make a little sequence for it. Obviously, I think the developers still have some say in how the games are going to be shown and presented, but it's a lot less control than they would have usually. And for Jeff to be able to hold a show like this, to be able to have all these brand new, exciting titles shown off and to gather as big of an audience as he did. The Muppets joked about, oh, it's 100 million people watching right now. I doubt it's 100 million. I would be really surprised if it's 100 million. You were just joking. But like, if it's just like 5 million, that's crazy. That's crazy audience to be showing off your game to. Like, a Nintendo Direct will not get that amount. A Sony State of Play will not get that amount. So he definitely has its pros as well. I also thought it was funny that Todd Howard got up on stage twice. The Todd Howard, 16 times the Todd Howard on stage. Actually, no, it wasn't 16 times the Todd Howard. He was so small, they did him dirty by putting him next to a behemoth. It was like 0.5 times Todd Howard. It was goofy. But I was just surprised seeing him there twice, considering their last big game, Starfield, didn't do well. And the reason why they got this much hype was Indiana Jones, a game published by Bethesda, but like not made by a Bethesda game studio's like main team. So I thought it was goofy that Todd Howard got to go up there twice. It definitely doesn't feel like Bethesda has been that big of a deal recently, but he got up there. He got his time to shine still. Same thing for Ubisoft when they won the Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown award. I thought that was pretty nice. It was deserved. Prince of Persia is good. But there's just some sort of like melancholy to seeing the Ubisoft fellas go upstage and like thank Ubisoft when they're about to be sold off to Tencent. The whole company is going under. So there's just that like sense of, oh my goodness in the background. But I thought that the way they announced games this year was pretty interesting too. So when, for example, the guys from Overcooked get to announce their game and the whole screen, like the whole theater goes black and the screen like opens and shatters in half and suddenly you're like transported into the game. That stuff, it adds to the show, right? It's really great. And just the way that some of these people present their games too, like the guy from Split Fiction, right? The guy that make It Takes Two. The guy just got up, the guy just went up there, started swearing a bunch. We freaked shit up. He just got up on stage, started swearing, and I thought this was funny, but dude just gets up there, starts swearing, and then the camera just cuts to his daughters, and it's just two little babies, and he's just, I'm gonna up. And it cuts to their freaking babies. It's like, god damn. But he was really confident about his game. He said, you're not gonna believe this. This is the best thing you're ever gonna play. This is the best thing since Super Mario Brothers on the NES. You've never seen something this good. And then he shows a game that admittedly does look really good. So, I'll give him that. It Takes Two was awesome. I played it. I beat it. So, Split Fiction, another game. Excited to learn more about it. Excited to learn more about Split Fiction. I feel like the Game Awards team put a lot of effort into making this a responsible show, in a way. And they didn't shy away from the industry's problems. Despite having Phil Spencer sitting right there in the front row. I saw him in the audience. They zoomed into him a couple times to get that retention up, cut the Phil Spencer cam. But despite having these very high executives just in their audience, Jeff wasn't afraid to mention all the layoffs, which were directly caused by some companies that are there watching, with their higher-ups there sitting down watching him say this. He wasn't afraid. He didn't back down. And not only did he not back down, but he created an entire new award, the Game Changer Award. And the way he presented it makes it seem like we're gonna see that more. We're gonna see one game changer a year now. And they gave it to a guy who was able to help thousands of game developers who lost their jobs during this unprecedented period. This random little guy who had a passion for video games and was able to make a difference. And they gave him an award. They got him up on stage. Dude was wearing the most gamer outfit you've ever seen before. Like the Hyrule jacket with little pixel art. Like, come on, man. That's a true gamer right there. And they just gave him an award, and I thought that was a really sweet gesture that I wasn't expecting, right? Like, the Game Awards didn't have to go this far. They didn't have to do this. Jeff didn't have to plan this out, but they made a Game Changer Award. They went out of the way to find a guy that was actually a game changer, and they brought him in, they talked about layoffs, and they gave him an award live on stage. And I think that's something that has value. You can argue, oh, it's just corporate speech. He just wants to appear good in this industry, but he has a hand on it. He's a big executive. He has a hand on it as well. He's a big guy. He's making millions. Like, you can point a finger at everything. But in truth, he did do it. He went out of his way to do it, and I think there's value in that. So I respect the Game Awards a little more for pushing the envelope and actually bringing these discussions to the forefront where everyone sees them. I think there's value in that, and I don't think Jeff would have done this if he didn't truly care. So yeah, that's me praising the Game Awards again. Some criticism that I did see, though, is that Jeff kind of integrated ads as part of the show. So a lot of the time, even I was recording it, and I was like pausing the recording on the ads because I didn't want to waste a bunch of gigabytes recording ads into my system so that I didn't fill my hard drive with 2 terabytes of Game Awards ad segments. But even I sometimes found myself recording a bunch of ads and being like, oh, is this a game announcement? No, it's just an ad for a gacha mobile game, or it's just an ad for Squid Games, which, how much did Netflix pay for this? How much did Netflix pay for this? They integrated an ad into their show. The whole thing, the whole theater goes quiet. They have that girl that like shoots you from the Netflix series. They got a guy sitting in the crowd wearing the Squid Games outfit. Just shoot him. All the little Among Us come into the screen. All the little Among Us fellas come into the screen. Cut to this guy with a voice changer saying, "This game is insane. You're gonna play it now. Netflix Squid Games Unleashed." And then it cuts to it and it looks like a mobile game. Because I think it is a mobile game. And it just looks really bland and uninteresting, and I'm so sorry. And that's when you realize, oh yeah, Netflix probably just spent $5 bazillion to get an entire segment for themselves. And it was slotted in as if it wasn't an ad, but you just witnessed a Netflix ad. And they even shoehorn in a segment talking about the season 2 of Squid Games only on Netflix. And that's a bit shady. That is a bit shady. What makes me a little less sad about it, like playing devil's advocate again, is the fact that, well, the show needs to be paid for itself, right? The show needs to get paid, and the companies paying for these ad slots is what's keeping the Game Awards alive and thriving and, you know, getting bigger every year. It's what helps them get all these celebrity cameos, which is a whole other deal. Are celebrity cameos necessary? Are they good? Are they bad? I personally don't care. I think they're funny. I think it values the industry in a way, but at the same time, I think they can overdo it. Like, I don't think they should be bringing in people who'd have nothing to do with the industry. Like, at least they brought Snoop Dogg this year, but Snoop Dogg apparently has his own game studio now or something. So that has something to do. They brought in, like, 21 Pilots and someone else to play an Arcane song, but I think those people actually worked in making music for that series. So it's connected, right? That's why I don't really mind. But at the same time, you shouldn't really bring celebrities in just for the sake of having a celebrity. Like, they brought the guy from Breaking Bad. They brought Jesse Breaking Bad. Yeah, that's his name. They brought Jesse Breaking Bad. He technically worked on a game. Like, he's voice acting for a game. So I can see the connection there. But, like, it is giving him, was giving him 5 minutes of yapping and runtime really necessary for this Game Awards to to thrive, you know? Was that really good for the pacing? I don't think so. I think that was just Jeff being like, oh my god, we got the guy from Breaking Bad, we gotta give him 1 billion hours on screen time, we gotta zoom in on his face so everybody can see, hey look, we got the guy from Breaking Bad, guys, we have the guy from Breaking Bad, he's right here. And that type of stuff is like, I will criticize that. That's a bit goofy. It's a gaming show, not a TV show. I don't think you need to focus on hard like that on people. But it is really funny, for example, to see like Snoop Dogg playing his brand new song on stage in front of everybody. That's just gaming in 2024. It's something that you would have never imagined 10 years ago when Game Awards started. When they first did Game Awards, they had Imagine Dragons playing with Koji Kondo. That was in the first year. And that was like insane. That was this huge moment at the time, especially. And it's something that's become so normalized now. Now you just have celebrities actually wanting to use gaming media, gaming events, as ways of promoting themselves. I mean, Fortnite is there. Fortnite exists. A bunch of celebrities want to put themselves in Fortnite on purpose. You got like Ariana Grande, Eminem, and obviously Snoop Dogg being placed into Fortnite. That's something that they see as good for their brand. It's much more, gaming as a much more accepted industry. Because when I was growing up, and I presume it was even worse for people who grew up in the 90s, but I grew up in the 2000s. So when I was growing up, gaming was this kind of outcast industry, right? It was seen as like a smaller industry, even though at the time it already was getting huge. Like back in the Wii days and GameCube days, like it was seen as this outcast industry that was like, oh, you're making silly little video games for kids, or oh, look at that, you're making your little video game, but it's not music. Oh, your little video game, is it art, is it not art? That was that whole debate at the time, or are video games art? Like, people would usually say no, they're not, and they would just put movies and music in this like pedestal, like all these music artists are actual celebrities, they're actual celebrities, all these actors, they're actual celebrities, and the game developers, like, they didn't really have an impact outside of their circle. But ever since the Game Awards started happening, 2014, you already see a shift, because you got Imagine Dragons, a band that's very much respected, maybe not by critics, but they're popular. I'm not gonna get into the whole argument there. That's me putting another target on my back. Is Imagine Dragons good? And like, yeah, I did used to really like Imagine Dragons back in the day. Radioactive, that was everywhere. That was a fun song. Nowadays, their new album, Loom, I think it was called, or something, I listened to it once. Oh man, that's bad. Okay, I'm sorry, Imagine Dragons. It's not. I'm sorry. Musical opinion and taste is allowed to exist. I'm not gonna judge you if you like it. I'm not gonna judge you at all. It's music. Everyone has their own tastes. I did not like it at all. So, but it's still important, right? It's still meaningful that Imagine Dragons was there and it was playing with Koji Kondo of all people. So it in a sense, it elevated Koji Kondo to the level of Imagine Dragons. And I think the Game Awards, and E3 before it, but now the Game Awards, has this power of elevating the gaming industry to mainstream status. People will look at the Game Awards the same way that they look at the Oscars. Not to the same extent now. If you talk to your parents or to your grandma, and you talk about the Game Awards, they're not going to be like, oh, the Game Awards, yes, the yearly event, just like the Oscars. No, they're going to be like, what are you talking about? And they're going to think the Oscars are much more prestigious, but that's because the Oscars have had like 1 trillion years to exist. They've been like here for like almost a century, and the Game Awards has been here for only 10 years. Give it 20 more, I think gaming will be huge. Well, it's already huge, but I think the Game Awards has potential to be the Oscars of gaming. They don't give that much of a crap about the awards though. Right now, the awards kind of feel like an afterthought to the big musical numbers and the big reveals. But that's less so of a symptom of the show itself and more just so a consequence of what gamers expect and what gamers want. Could you get 1 million sweaty gamers to tune into the Game Awards every year if it was just an awards show? I'm gonna be real, no. The answer is no. You could not. You could not get this much audience if you didn't say, we have a bunch of new announcements. You're gonna get Borderlands 4, The Witcher 4, new Naughty Dog game. You're gonna get all these indies. You're gonna get so many new DLC and a new Elden Ring standalone. If you didn't have that, would people watch it? No. A lot of people wouldn't watch it. Obviously, some would still care and analyze it and actually watch the awards show and treat it more seriously, maybe. But the fact is, you can't really be mad at the Game Awards for giving so much emphasis on announcing new games and having all of these flashy numbers on screen, because in reality that's just appealing to the gamer audience. That's what appeals to us. That's what appeals to me. I watch the Game Awards not just because I want to know about the award, especially the big ones like, oh, what won best narrative, what won best music, what's getting Game of the Year this year, but because, well, I might get Silksong, I get Huff the Copian once again, I might get Silksong this time. Fellas, put on the clown makeup. It's another Silksong coping hour. So that's why we watch it. That's part of why we watch it. So even though it's more in the background, it's just propelled. I think more people are seeing these awards and getting to know these games. And I thought it was really nice that Balatro won a lot of the awards as well. A game made by one guy. I mean, nominated for Game of the Year. That's crazy. We got Okami too. It's not Okami 2, Okami sequel. We got Okami sequel. I'm not qualified to talk about Okami sequel because I never played Okami. I never had it on Wii and PS2. Was it on Wii? I'm pretty sure it was. I never had it. I never played it back in the day. I've heard it's like $5 on Switch right now, so if you want to play Okami, it's probably on sale. But I've never played it, so I don't get what the hype is about. But at the same time, the art style looks gorgeous, and apparently they got like the original guy in the game again, and he wasn't like working with Capcom anymore, but he brought him back to do Okami 2. Jeff just came up on stage and was like, "This next announcement will absolutely blow your minds. You do not understand. This is actually insane." And I was about to think like, okay, it's just gonna be something mid. Jeff, don't let us down. Jeff's just about to let us down again. And then he actually didn't. He showed off something truly special, which was nice. Again, am I gonna play it? Probably. Do I care right now? No, I wasn't a part of the hype. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But I think I'm gonna get to play it sometime. Obviously, ending with the Naughty Dog game. Let's talk about the Naughty Dog game. It was the last thing they showed off. Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet. Right? Is that the name? Yeah. Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet. That's the last thing they showed. New Naughty Dog game. It's literally just the Porsche spaceship as well. I'm not gonna pretend to understand, but they just showed like a 1.5 minute long CGI trailer with zero gameplay apart from like one little blip at the end that was clearly not gameplay, but just a segment made to simulate gameplay for the trailer. And third-person action style reminded me of something like Star Wars, Jedi, Fallen Order type stuff. But, man, the fact that this trailer was just CGI with just a name drop, it gives me Cyberpunk flashbacks. This game is not going to be out for a long time. Sony's release scheduling is insane. I've said this before in other videos, but Naughty Dog released The Last of Us Part 2 in 2020 as a PS4 game. And now everybody like complains that PS5 has no games. Maybe it would have been smarter to hold off on The Last of Us Part 2, like lose on some of the sales and just make it exclusive to PS5. But then again, they can't do that because they spend hundreds of millions on every game now, so they must make their money back. So they had to have it on PS4. They couldn't just make it an exclusive to the new console, but that's a whole other problem. God of War Ragnarok as well couldn't be just exclusive to PlayStation 5. Now, in the long run, I think that would have been the smarter choice, right? Start PlayStation 5 with God of War Ragnarok and The Last of Us Part 2 as exclusives. They didn't do that. Great for PlayStation 4 users. Great for us as gamers. I'm not gonna lie. Great for us. I'm not just analyzing this as like a industry type thing, but great for gamers. If you can play these games on your old PS4, you don't have to buy a PS5. That's awesome. That's amazing. That's incredible for us. I'm not complaining. Like, if they want to keep doing it forever, like Elden Ring Night Song or whatever, Elden Ring Night Rain, yes. Elden Ring Night Rain coming to PS4 and Xbox One, I presume. They just said Xbox, but like Elden Ring Night Rain coming to PS4 in 2025, that's good for us. That's just good for the gamer. Cyberpunk coming to PS4, that's good for us. Maybe not that one. That one barely ran on PS4, but that's a CD Projekt Red problem. So that's good for us. That's good for the gamer. We get to play these titles without having to splurge $500 on a new machine, and I appreciate that from that point of view. But it's not good for the console manufacturers, man. It's really not. I think Sony is safer in doing this now because they don't have competition. Because they don't. Xbox is not competition. Xbox is long since dropped out of the console game. They just have a console now, but that's not their main focus. So I think that's why Sony feels more confident in doing what they're doing. But like, come on, revealing something like Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, and just making it CGI. They're gonna release this game in like 3 years. But I don't know. I just don't know how I feel about treating games as blockbusters every time. And I hope Sony gets the hint, because we haven't actually talked about many of the award winners. I've talked about this as mostly like just like a show and what was shown and what it means. But we haven't talked about the award winners. Astro Bot swept every award it was in, I'm pretty sure. Astro Bot took what, 4 awards? Including Game of the Year. They won Game of the Year. And that was a game that, let's be real here, Sony didn't really care for that much. They wanted Concord to be their big title. I swear, Sony would have been drooling if the Concord was here receiving that freaking trophy, but it wasn't Concord. Concord was shut down. They lost money on that crap. It was Astrobot who won all the awards, who was a critically acclaimed, a darling of the industry. That was Astrobot, a 3D platformer inspired by Nintendo games. Even the guy said it. I don't think he I thought it was funny. He's like, I'm gonna say it. I don't think I should say it. I'm gonna say it. And the guy behind him was like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. They'll kill us. They'll take us out the back and kill us. They'll fire us all. They'll lay us all. They'll lay off us all. Please don't do it. But he did it. He did mention like, Nintendo has kept the platforming genre alive. He didn't mention them by name, obviously. He even joked about that. But he implied that Nintendo has been keeping the platforming genre alive, and how important that is for the gaming industry, and he's thankful for that. So I thought that was a really nice gesture of just companionship between the companies. I think Nintendo needs to do that as well. I think Nintendo needs to be more aware of other gaming companies, and they were with like Ubisoft, but Ubisoft is not the company it was back when Nintendo formed in more like partnership status with them. Ubisoft's just gone now. But I think Nintendo as well needs to like step down from their pedestal, because sometimes they do. I get the impression that they're like a bit egotistical, their developers and stuff. They're higher ups, they're like, oh, we're better than other people. That's just what I feel like. I don't think it's true. That's me just judging them. I'm willing to bet a lot of Nintendo developers, a lot of higher ups there, like your Miyamotos and the sorts, are really great people. But I do think that sometimes Nintendo can also show gestures of kindness towards others. Like how in the Game Awards a couple years back, we had all of the main presidents of the companies all together in the stage. That was also a big moment. That's something we don't see anymore. So seeing the Sony guys actually acknowledge Nintendo, even if it was under a bit of a... they were a bit scared to do it. It was good. It was a nice gesture, and I appreciate that. But let's not talk about Nintendo when Nintendo didn't win a single award. Nintendo weren't here. Nintendo's cooking. Nintendo's cooking right now. They're out the kitchen. They're in the kitchen. They're not in the living room watching. They're in the kitchen cooking right now. They got nothing. They showed like one ad. They're actually, mouth closed, zipped. They're zipped lips in the kitchen right now, cooking the most delicious steak you'll ever see. Or maybe a flop. Maybe they're cooking a flop. Maybe they're cooking Wii U. Let's not think about that. Let's just choose to believe that the smell is good, and they're cooking the most delicious, exquisite meal in the other room right now. But at the moment, let's not talk about them. Let's talk about what actually happened. Sony game. Sony published, developed, in-house game, swept the Game Awards, 4 awards. Helldivers as well, Sony published game, 2 awards. Sony swept this year, despite all the games that have swept weren't their big titles. Helldivers was a surprise success, and Astrobot was a surprise success. Sony, get the hint! Sony, get the freaking hint! Please, Sony, get the hint! My god. Invest in titles like these. Invest in titles like Helldivers. Invest in titles like Astrobot. Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet. I'm sure it's going to be great. I'm sure Yote is going to be incredible as well for the fans. But if you just have those, you're not going to succeed. Look at the games that are doing well. Look at the games that are performing well. They're smaller productions. Focus a little bit more on that, just like Nintendo does. Nintendo has Echoes of Wisdom this year. That did great for within the Nintendo community. Get a lot more of those smaller titles. That was the Game Awards 2024. That was the Game Awards 2024. The 10th anniversary of the annual Jeff Keighley show. It was a fun watch, right? Like, I didn't get my eyes off the screen this time. Last year, I was just playing a game. Halfway through, I was just like placing it at a minimum volume, grinding in the game. This year, I was watching. I didn't turn on a game. I was watching the entire time up until 2 in the morning. I was like, oh, I'm gonna freaking fall asleep. I'm gonna die. I have to go in the morning. I'm gonna wake up at freaking 7 and I was watching. My eyes were glued to the screen. I was waiting for the awards. So yeah, congratulations, Jeff Keighley. You got a solid 8.7 out of 10. Thank you for the show. Thank you for giving me. I didn't talk about Elden Ring. I didn't talk about. Shut up. Shut up right now. I didn't talk about Elden Ring. I did not talk about Elden Ring. They made Elden Ring. Play the clip. Play the clip of me reacting to it. I have this here. I recorded myself reacting to that crap. Why does it look like Elden Ring? It's got the same graphical style. Wait. What? No. It looks looks like Elden because... It looks like Elden because... That was the thing from the Elden... I was so happy. I was so happy. I could not believe it. I was in disbelief. That's the voice of someone in utter disbelief of what they just witnessed. Jeff Keighley, again, as a goofball that he is, says a new standalone game, and then they show Elden Ring, and then they show like the map being consumed by this thing. Now we know that that's a battle royale zone. Okay, let's get to that. But when the trailer was playing, I thought, okay, the map is being like consumed and it's gonna be a new land. It's Elden Ring 2. I thought it's Elden Ring 2, and they showed new movement. They showed like the characters running much faster, jumping, holding onto a bird, which now we know that's the battle bus for the battle royale. Okay, I thought Elden Ring 2. Until Elden Ring Night Rain popped up, I still thought it was Elden Ring new game. I thought we were getting a new Elden Ring game in the style of, you know, Shadow of the Erdtree and Elden Ring. But then the minutes passed, the hours passed, I went to sleep, I woke up the next day, and I just looked at the trailer again, and I started to process, what is it that I just saw? What is it that I just witnessed? Every shot has multiple characters in it. I decided to take a look. A co-op, multiplayer, roguelike, battle royale, monster hunter. I'm just throwing words. It's a word soup. I'm just throwing words in a pot and mixing them together. It's a roguelite, battle royale, Souls-like, monster hunter, co-op, multiplayer game. Some people got to play it. Apparently, you have like a 3-day cycle. You drop in with the bird, like the battle bus. You and 2 of your friends, or randoms, I presume, drop into a twisted version of the Elden Ring map, and the zone gets smaller, and at the end of those 3 days, you fight a boss. Like, you drop in as a level 0 character, and you fight enemies until you level up yourself, and then you fight a boss at the end. I love Elden Ring. I love FromSoft games. I've beaten every single Dark Souls and you know, Elden Ring, the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. The only Dark Souls game I haven't yet beaten is the first one. I have Dark Souls Remastered on Steam. I still haven't gone to beat it. I played like half of it, and then other games came out, and I dropped it. God damn it. I got all the way to like the big city area, like Anne Orlando or something. I didn't beat it. I love it. I love these games. So when you show me a co-op multiplayer battle royale monster hunter FromSoft, I trust you. Apparently Miyazaki isn't involved either. He just like gave the thumbs up, the green light. I trust you. I trust you. I trust you. I trust your judgment, buddy. But like, just oof. Man, we'll see what happens. All right, wrap it up. Please wrap it up. You've been going on. Yeah, please wrap it up. You've been rambling for too long. Thanks for listening to my podcast here about the Game Awards. I've been rambling. It's been a good show. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff Keighley, for the annual little Christmas gift wrapped in a bow of ads. Just neatly wrapped in a little package filled with ads. Thank you so much for the little Christmas gift. A lot of good stuff to look forward to. Lots of good games coming next year. Switch 2 coming next year. A lot of these games probably on Switch 2, even if they don't say it right now. So, a lot of stuff to look forward to. 2025 will be a very good year for gaming. GTA 6 is coming next year. GTA 6 is coming next year. Get real. First of all, get real. First of all, get real. I'm gonna ramble again. Please wrap it up. They're flashing it at me. They're flashing it at me. But seriously, GTA 6, Switch 2, all the titles shown today, and we haven't even gotten into next year. What does Nintendo have cooking? They totally have like a new 3D Mario, maybe a Mario Kart. Okay, chill. Silk Song. Silk Song is in the cards. Silk Song could be next year too. Team Cherry's just cooking away as well. Team Cherry's been in the kitchen. They've been there. Nintendo's just cooking their little Switch 2. They look to the side. There's like a little gremlin inside the cupboards, just cooking, just like cooking the perfect concoction, going like, and they're like, what the heck? What are you doing here? I've been here for 74 years, perfecting my craft. That's Team Cherry right now. So there's so much stuff coming next year. 2025 is shaping up to be a really good year for gaming. And the Game Awards wraps up 2024 neatly. I liked it. I liked the Game Awards this year. There you go, Jeff Keighley. A little pat on the head from me. A little thumbs up. Your show was good. Your show was good. What did I give it again? 8.7. 8.7 out of 10. 8.7 out of 10. Thumbs up. Thumbs up emoji. Thumbs up. Subscribe. Thumbs up emoji.